Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. So I, in honor of Indigenous Heritage Month, um, decided to jump into a book that was recommended to me by a coworker. She and I tend to read books together a lot, which is funny. But I actually read this one before she did. They haven't started it yet, and I raced through this book, and that book is Firekeepers' Daughter by Angeline Bouley. And it is a really good book. It is really, really good. I truthfully don't have a lot of complaints about this book. And so because of that, 5 out of 5. But this book is about a young girl named Donis, and she is a person that's kind of struggled with her identity most of her life. She is half Indigenous, half white, specifically French and Italian. And she's kind of lived in this weird world where her half brother is fully native, and her mother had her at a very young age, like she was like 16 or 17 or something. And so like her grandparents have always been like very anti-Indigenous people, very racist and stuff. So she's kind of, living in this weird world. And at the same time, she, like a lot of her friends, obviously half of her family is Indigenous. And so she spends a lot of time with them and just trying to really kind of understand her heritage. So in the story, she has gone through a lot of loss. She's lost her dad, and then most recently she's lost the uncle that kind of replaced her dad after he passed. And now she's like, when the story starts, her grandmother had like a stroke or something like that. So she's kind of like in the process of losing her grandmother. And it's discovered that or that her uncle was part of an FBI investigation. And so she gets looped into this FBI investigation, discovers that there's like some undercover operatives and all that going on, and that her uncle was helping them. And so now they're asking her to help, and it leads her on this like really deep, long chase, right? And so there's just so much that happens in the story. For one, a lot of the story is based in fact, based on there's like a couple things that the story touches on. One touches on families that had been destroyed by having their children taken and sent to boarding schools, and kind of the after effect of those children, how those children have behaved in raising the next generation. That losing touch with your native heritage is like a big conversation. Also a conversation around people who clearly are Indigenous but don't have an actual tribe. They don't have a community that they can go back to. Maybe they were born on a reservation and families moved, they were adopted out, things like that. So one of the FBI agents, one of the main characters, he is the case of he was adopted out, and so he doesn't really know his heritage. And they kind of use that, some of the people, the other characters in the story use that against him a little bit. And then also on the flip side, just how the typical white Americans have handled Indigenous populations and what they kind of push on them, or these ideas that they've brought to them about, you're all drug dealers, you're not going to amount up to much, you don't get good education, you guys really struggle reading, things like that. And so the author kind of highlights that, which one of the things in my research on the author, because I didn't know a lot of this more recent history. The story took place in 2004. And so I was a little bit of a blast to the past. Some of the things that were mentioned in the story, I was like, bro, what? I remember that. But the author is a very big proponent of working with Indigenous populations and upping literacy levels and things like that, especially on and around reservations. So that's also a big thing, just like the idea that Donis is super into science, super into foraging and things like that, and she wants to use her heritage medicine, the like more natural medicines to also help people from a scientific perspective. And so that's a big conversation. But the whole crux of the FBI investigation is that somebody has been cooking crystal meth and selling it on the reservation, but also on other reservations. And they figured out that it coincides with the hockey season. And specifically, they look at Donis, who is a former hockey player, and her brother's team. And like, they're like, oh, is there some kind of connection between when the hockey team goes to certain locations, that's when all these drug deals are happening. And so, long story short, at the end of it, you find out that it is actually her brother's kind of posse that he hangs out with on the team. You kind of, like, I called that it was that the brother had something to do with it way early in the book. I was like, her brother got something to do with this. Like, what are the odds that every time he goes someplace, and he's always talking about, oh, when you go there, you should do this restaurant and all this. So I'm like, how does he know all this stuff, And then, like, at a later point, you find out that he has a ton of money in their joint bank account. The two siblings have a joint bank account, and she is checking the bank account just because she hadn't checked it in a while. It's their Canadian account. She was born in Canada, so she has almost triple citizenship because American mom, so she's technically a U.S. citizen, but she was born in Canada, so Canadian. But she eventually also gets her card for being Indigenous with her tribe. So really, she's citizen all the way around. But she is, checking it and finds out that Donis is checking it and finds out that her brother has been depositing money, and then the bank statements haven't been coming to her. She's like, you know what? I haven't seen a bank statement in a while. So she calls the bank, and they're like, oh, it's because it's going to his address. And she's like, no, I'll leave it at his address, but send me the digitals. And so she gets all the digitals, and she starts figuring out, like, oh, he's transferring tons of money into the account and then into an offshore account. And so, like, you figure out, like, it's the brother, but then even more so is, like, the brother is not actually the brains behind the whole operation. It's other people. And then, like, Donis learning, like, who all is involved. Just, it's this just kind of big spaghetti bowl of things all at the end. And this was truthfully, like, if I was, I really couldn't put it down. I was up finishing it via audiobook because it's just so good. And at the same time, I was also really mad at the end of it. I was like, like the story was getting to a point, and I was like, okay, I think I figured it out. I think I know where this is going, and they'll tie it up, and it'll all be nice, happy ending. And it was not nice, happy ending. All the characters that deserved to get it got it, except for there were two kind of things, and spoiler alert. But so at one point, Donis, her brother's friend, who is kind of the mastermind behind the whole thing, Mike, his father is Grant, very wealthy white family. And he is also a lawyer. And so he uses native law against her. And so the first thing is he lures her into his hotel room and proceeds to assault her. And like hold her down, all the things she can't really fight back, right? And then later, her brother's mother, because he's a half brother, so his mom kidnaps her and takes her to a location on the reservation. But it all happened after her 18th birthday, after she gets her application approved to become a member of the tribe. And so the two crimes that happen against her, even though they are committed by people that like legally could be arrested per U.S. law, because both things happened on native land, they cannot prosecute, and the FBI can't do anything about it. And I was just sitting there, like, I was in my car when it got to first, like when the assault happened, I was like, bro, wait, what? Blindside. like completely blindsided. But then as the story kept going, I was literally just laying in bed and I was just like, so nothing can be done. Like this girl has to live with the fact that she has been assaulted, and the guy gets away with it because he strategically did it on indigenous land. What do you mean? It was just, and I've looked all this up. This is like true things. And this is, I think, kind of the author's point in some of the problems that we have, and that the indigenous communities, and if you are a person who is from one of the indigenous communities, please feel free to speak to this, but things don't get done. Like when people go missing, nobody searches for them. The government is not super helpful with that. And then on top of that, a lot of reservations have their own police force. And so the police force is doing what they can, but like they get kind of stopped at certain points because it's like, oh, you're off the reservation. You don't really have jurisdiction, things like that. So there's a lot of discussion around that. And it was just so mind blowing that like at the end of it, it's like she went through all this and, you know, all the bad guys get caught except for him. I was like, are you serious? Like he doesn't get anything. Granted, like, you know, he does kind of, his wife divorces him, moves out of the house. His son runs off. He's the person that escapes. And everybody else is like in jail except for him and his son. And I was just like, I'm so angry. I like, if I could have thrown the physical book, I would have. And I told my coworker, I was like, you're not allowed to recommend any more books to me, because she recommended Fourth Wing. And I was just like, I was in a whole conniption over that. And now I'm in a conniption over this one. I'm like, you're not allowed to recommend no more books to me, because the emotional roller coaster that I have gone on in the last 2 months is wild. But all that to say, phenomenal book. Looking forward to reading the second one. There's also lots of rumors and confirmed rumors about it becoming a mini-series, TV series, something, through President Obama's media company that he and his wife have started. So I'm looking forward to whenever that comes out. I mean, the story is just so good. And I just really, really like the way it was written. Easy, quick, like honestly, it is a really easy, quick read. But at the same time, it definitely left me like, how do I help these people? Cause what do you mean he gets away with it? Like, I was so upset. At the end of it, like, what do you mean he gets away with it? That's just what I've been thinking ever since, I finished it. So yeah, there you have it. Very long book review. But very good book. If you, it's been out for a while. It's been out since, I think, let me look here, 2021. So if you've read this book, please feel free to make comments on it. And also just in honor of, Indigenous History Month, like the indigenous peoples were here well before colonization. And they are almost treated as an afterthought, I truthfully feel like, or treated as part of history, and that they don't still exist. And they do. And these communities are full of rich culture. And I really feel like this book really just highlighted the rich culture, talking about their ceremonies, talking about the language that was used, talking about the elders versus the younger generation, and how they communicate with each other and how they support each other. And it was just really a beautiful story, but more can be done to support these communities. And I just, like, this just makes me want to go support. Like, oh my gosh, what do you mean he gets away with it? I'm really upset. And knowing that there are, I'm sure, hundreds of missing children, especially women, that are just struggling because, like, we don't know what happened to them. They were kidnapped. They were taken, you know, wherever. Stories that have not been told. Like, it just did so much there. So yeah, that's really all I can say on it. Yeah, so there you have it. Thank you for watching. Again, the book is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Bouley. Again, I say 5 out of 5. It's got tons of really great reviews. The audiobook is also really good, read by an indigenous lady from a different tribe, I believe. But even still, she takes very good care of the language and everything. It's just a really beautiful story. So yeah, definitely check that one out. There you have it. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose. Yeah, I. What do you mean he gets away with it? Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the next book. There's another book in the series that is about. It takes like the characters that were in this book and different set of characters, but diving into their story a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to that. But I was like, after this one, I got to take a break from this series for a second to read something else. Because what? But yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't even say enough good things about it. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. So yeah, there you have it. I will see you in the next book review. Bye.